tell everyone right now, not everyone, but I get this comment all the time, and I think it's just a bunch of self-righteous people that call themselves Christians but have no concept of reality, zero concept. Now, before I say this word of rebuke, I'm going to tell you that I get things wrong all the time, right? But there's a difference between someone gets things wrong and just runs around like they know it all, spouting stupid stuff off like a fool, right? A fool just wants his ears tickled. A fool runs around thinking they know everything and that nobody else around them could tell them anyone otherwise. A fool is satisfied in his own folly. Whereas a wise man knows that he is constantly learning, constantly absorbing information, constantly evolving. And what may be his right today, his truth, tomorrow is a totally different truth. Type 1 if you understand what I'm talking about. That you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? And we're going to talk about gold and silver today. And there was a day that I knew nothing about silver. And the next day, I knew something about silver. It was a complete paradigm shift. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care if people don't listen to the words that I have to say. I really don't need that kind of self-satisfaction. Do I want to help people? Yes. But the only people that I can truly ever help are those that really intend to help themselves, that have any desire to change in life, that have any desire to become better human beings than they are today, right? And you got these people running around that call themselves Christians, and they have no concept of the difference between Satan's money that has all these satanic symbols on it, and then God's money, which is pure, that comes out of the earth, that was created by him. There's only so much out there. There's no counterparty risk tied to it. There's no inflation tied to it. It can't exist. There cannot be an inflation that exists with gold and silver, right? And they always love to rattle off this one verse that is not only taken so far out of context. It's like their excuse. Well, hey, you can turn around and you don't got to buy God's money. But you know what you do when you try and show others how smart you are and you're dead wrong? It actually hurts you. It hurts you because it hurts the other person. So let me tell you this verse, but let me give you a little bit of context. This is written in the book of Ezekiel. And to give you an idea of, let's say, timelines, the book of Ezekiel was believed to have been written well before Jesus Christ was ever on this earth. Because there was a big shift in money when Jesus walked the earth. All right? So it was believed to have been written, I think, anywhere between 50 something and like 150 years before Jesus Christ ever came onto the scene, right? To change things. And so here's the story. So this is about the great day of wrath. Ezekiel is essentially prophesying about the day of the wrath of the Lord, when his wrath is coming down on this earth to take care of those that are not for him. And it talks about how they shall also gird, and be very careful. There's another thing I want to tell you about. There in the second to last verse in the Bible, it says, and I'm paraphrasing here, okay? He who I'm gonna also cover this in the fact that I am not good at reading my Bible all the time, okay? I do not know everything, but the things that I know to be true, I know to be true, okay? But there, the second to last verse in the Bible says that anyone that changes one word in this Bible will have their names erased from the book of life. Okay, it's that big of a deal. And all these apps that everyone's running around on their phones reading, and they're reading all these different versions, they are specifically taking keywords out of these versions. You better get into King James Version, because especially the King James, what is it, 1611? 1911, I don't remember. It was the first version of the translation into English. My point being is that they want to change these words to where one word in a sentence changes the entire meaning, and it's very dangerous. But they talk about this. This is the verse out of the King James Version. They shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall come shall cover them, and shame shall be upon their faces, and baldness upon their heads. So it's talking about how scared they are, how in fear they are. There's things happening in their body and changing in their body. They're freaking out, right? And this is the verse that all these Christians want to spit out when you talk about gold and silver, because they just want an excuse not to do something that's difficult. And I'm going to explain that in a second. It says here, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity. Let me do my best to translate this. When the Lord's wrath is coming down on this earth for those that are not for him, nothing is going to be able to save you, and people are going to know that. You can like it or hate it. I believe this to be truth. And that's what we need this day is truth, right? And just to give you an idea, there was no fiat currency in the time that this man wrote this book. So when he's explaining money, that no matter how rich someone was, they're going to essentially throw it out in the streets and go, it's worthless. We've lost our lives. We've lost our livelihoods. The Lord is judging us. I mean, I got to be honest with you. How many people believe that the world's flat these days? You go like, hey, here's a photo of it. Here's a video of it. Well, no, it's flat. Like, okay, well, I don't know. And there's people that you just can't prove. Hey, look at all this proof in the world. This is truth. This is truth. You know, you get people that I try and talk about frequencies and they don't believe you. And yet they get on their phone, they call someone, they go, hey, you know, and I'm like, well, how does that phone work? They don't know. They have no concept how the phone works. It's just a magic box. I hit buttons. It works. They don't have no clue, right? But I'll tell you what, people are going to find out real quick. And I've told this to people like, well, I don't believe God's true. I'm like, I'll tell you what, this is the only, I'm going to be honest with you. I was selfish when I asked Christ into my heart because I didn't want to go to hell. If hell's real, this is insurance. I'm being totally straight with you. Asking Christ to your heart is a selfish thing. It's selfish at the beginning. You're like, I don't want to go to hell if hell's real. I don't want to go to hell, right? And people are going to, this is what this Bible verse is, people that didn't believe in God are meeting their maker in the future. And they don't like the outcome because their time is too short. Well, all these Christians run around and they go, well, I don't want to buy gold and silver because it's just going to be worthless. Ezekiel's explaining wealth, money, because that's all he knew. That's what wealth was to him back then. Wealth is gold and silver. So these people are going to be throwing their gold and silver in the street. What you don't realize is it's actually money, valuables, items, things of treasure to human beings that they're throwing out in the future. You know, you see in the book of Revelations, these prophets are writing the book and like, hey man, there's this war of Armageddon. They're explaining things like fireflies shooting, spitting fire in the future. And you go, well, that looks like an Apache helicopter spitting out rockets. You know, they're trying their best to explain this stuff, but you got a bunch of Christians going, nope, they said gold and silver, so I'm not buying any. Here's the facts. It's actually a hard thing to go and buy gold and silver. Unless you really are speculating it's going to explode in price, you are taking Earth's money, Satan's money, and transferring into gold and silver for a treasury because you're like, I believe this is precious because this is what God created. And I want the money of kings. Shoot, elitists all over the world are storing up gold. And they sit and, but people that go to church and go, I believe in Jesus. You're like, you don't even understand what God's money is like. That's why God says the only thing you're allowed to test him in is finances. So let me show you this too. I think this is really important. Nope, I already said that. Oh, here you go. So that's when Ezekiel read that they're going to cast their gold and silver in the streets is before Jesus was born. Then here Jesus comes on the scene, and there's a famous part of the Bible that people talk about where Jesus was so pissed off, and I'm going to read it here. It said, and the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and the changers of money sitting. Now, I want to explain something very clear to you. I don't remember the name of it. the first fiat currency was called, not the dung beetle, it was something beetle, the name of it. I don't remember the name. It's like the name of the dollar, the name of the yen, but it had something to do with beetle. And it was a note, a fiat note written on papyrus. There's actually pieces of it in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., and in this Hall of Money. The first ever fiat note. And with the word, the money changers are very important for people to understand, to get through their minds, because I believe that what you need to understand is these men made this papyrus note and convinced, and it's actually through sorcery. I want people to understand this. You think about hypnotism. How easy is it to hypnotize people? That's evil stuff. It's bad stuff. You don't want that. But there are people that are easier to hypnotize than others. Type 2 if you understand that. It's a fact. It is. If you ask any hypnotist, they're going to tell you. They are way more susceptible to this. And I want you to understand that those type of people right now are far, in fact, the majority of liberals. All right? People need to start getting this through their minds, start being able to see society. And what happens is when you start to see these things, you have more love for those type of people, because you're like, all right, it's not that you are going completely against my truth in my mind. You are more susceptible to brainwashing, to frequency, to that's why in the Bible it says faith comes by hearing. It doesn't come by seeing. Faith comes by hearing, because after you hear something a certain amount of times, that's when you start to realize it. You start to really contemplate it, and it's in your head. Well, the sad thing is governments know that's too, and they use it to our ultimate demise, and that's why television programming is called programming. Subliminal messages, all that kind of stuff. All right. So here Jesus walks in the temple and he sees the changers of money. So what they did is they changed money from God's money, gold and silver, into fiat. All right. And what you will find is that they twisted it and then they stole the wealth. Think about it. They're in the front convincing these people that, oh yeah, this is good, this fiat note on papyrus, and we're just, and people are like, oh my gosh, I want this. Oh, it's the newest thing. It's so new and fangled and awesome. And I'm telling you right now, there's a day where blockchain's going to this. Like, understand this. There's blockchain, and there's centralized and decentralized currencies, and they are shutting down the on-ramps rapidly. I'm getting notices from every single account I got. Hey, we're shutting this one down. We're shutting this one down. We're KYC, and okay, all right, I get it, because I knew the plan, right? There's only a certain amount of time until they're like, all right, now you're going to need a chip in your right hand or your forehead to access this stuff, to access finance. That's why you only got so much time. This shouldn't put you in fear like it's going to happen tomorrow or next year. That is not the case. But I'll tell you what, 10 years goes by like that. Type 3 if you get it. And anyone with kids knows it. 10 years is like that. And you're like, what the heck just happened? So I'm telling you, I truly believe you've got over a decade till this happens. But you better get ready now. Building wealth takes time. It's hard work, right? So here Jesus is watching these money changers, convincing these people, here, just take this note, this fiat note, and I'll take that sheep or that lamb from you, that oxen or those chickens. And in the background, their buddies are just making more. Just, here you go. It's literally a scheme to steal, kill, and destroy people. And since then, it got worse. Well, check this out. This is what's very important you need to understand. God makes it very clear. Said when Jesus saw this, and when he had made a scourge of small cords and drove them out of the temple, and it took him time. He was pissed off, and he made this whip. He went outside and fashioned a whip, and he went outside and inside, and he starts whipping and starts screaming and get out of here now, to break it up. This verse is for us as much today as it was back then. All right? It says, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money. So he overthrew the tables right here, and overthrew the tables, he said. He poured out their fiat notes all over the place, trying to right now, that symbolizes how it's just garbage. That was when money changed, way after Ezekiel talked about the day of wrath of God. The good news is 99% of the church, this is the truth, and this is the sad truth. 99% of people that sit there and call them Christians have no concept of God's money. They have no concept of wealth. 90% of those people think that you're humble by being poor. They are so delusional. It's insane. It is crazy. And I hope this offends a couple people to the point you try and prove me wrong. And this is another thing I want you to do. Do not take my words as gospel. You go and challenge them before God. You go, this is what the ninja said. Is he right or wrong? I want to know. And if you truly go with that kind of attitude, God will show you. Test my words. Do not ever take anything verbatim. Do not take anything for gospel. You should be testing everything. I'm testing some words right now that men have told me that I look up to, that I believe that they're telling the truth. Whatever's coming out, they're believing is truth, but I've got to go and test those words. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't get the concept of the difference between Satan's money and God's, and you want to roll around, and I'm not telling you, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you to go cash out all your dollars and go buy gold. That's not it. It says to be in this world, but not of it. And gold and silver is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I'm telling you that right now. From someone that's been invested in it since 2010 and started thinking it was going to be a get-rich-quick scheme, it ain't. But what it is it brings you to a totally different level of wealth creation and wealth observance and wealth understanding. And it is my core holding. Not core as in a greater percentage of my wealth. It is a core as in I'm not selling it. The stuff that's given me in special, it will never, ever, that is my treasury in my finance building, my wealth building strategy. The stuff that I buy to speculate on, hey, I bought silver at 20 bucks and I think it's going to go to 30 in the next year or something, whatever. I'm not throwing out numbers, but I'm like, I'll take that and sell it and buy real estate with it or something like that. That's different. But I'm telling you right now, there are a bunch of Christians that think that God's just going to all of a sudden turn around and go, hey, all your debts are gone. Or they're sitting there saying that, don't buy gold. Don't worry, I got you. You know, there's only a handful of people in the Bible that had such abundance where God was just, they didn't even have to go and hunt, that birds were bringing manna to them. But I'll tell you what, I'm not where those men were. And that was only a specific time in their life as well. It wasn't their whole life. But the church runs around saying, oh no, being poor is humble and God's got whatever I do, I can make a bunch of bad decisions, he's got me. That's not how it works. God created us in his image, so I think he expects us to start thinking like and acting like adults. But there's a lot of people, grown-up people that are old, that don't act like adults. And going back to that hypnotist stuff, I'm telling you right now, there is a certain group of people around this world that are easier to hypnotize than others because they're more vulnerable. And hold on. I'm going to pull this up right now. I'm just going to read it from the Bible. Because I can't just say it. All right, hold on. Oh, am I not going to be able to find it right now? I can't say it by itself. I can't just say it and not have the verse. So the Bible has been changed so many times that they destroyed this verse. Oh man, I'm going to have to do another video about it then. So everybody wants to change this one verse because it makes people weak-minded. Oh, I didn't have it ready. All right, I'll just tell you guys. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, and you're going to, oh, no, wait, hold on. I can't do that. This is awkward. This is what I hate about the internet. They want to change everything, and they're doing it so easy, and people are being fooled. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Come on now. Stand by. Now I got to get to the right. I got to get to the right verse. Oh, you got, okay. I can't find it. Let's just put it this way. There's a reason why the elite don't want you eating red meat. It builds strong minds, strong bodies. And when you eat plants, it does something to your body that's different. I don't know how to tell you guys that anymore. This is a big deal. I'll let you go. We're going to have some news, but I just had to bring that word of rebuke about the whole casting gold and silver in the streets. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you got something of it. If it made you mad, well, you guys know what the door is. I'm afraid more of God than subscribers. But I love all of you guys that get it, and ladies, and hope you guys have a great day. Ninja's out.